I popped into Handy Hardware the other day and I saw this and I thought, oh, that's kind of cute in a weird, ugly sort of way. I wonder if it's any good. And I had a little bit of a play and I thought, oh yeah, that might make a good little video. And I thought my wife will like that. She does like to blow the deck, so I thought I'd get that for her and she can keep that up on the deck. It is the M12 compact blower, M12B brushed, not F for fuel, which means brushless. So it's a brush tool blower. -0 means there is no battery or charger in here. It's the tool only. If you're in the States, the number is... So it comes with a main unit, which is very light. This piece of pipe, a rubbery nozzle to go on the end of that. Big rubbery nozzle. And a wide sweeper type nozzle. Now, using this the other day at Handy Hardware, I found it was sort of designed for short asses if you were trying to blow the ground. I would have liked a slightly longer one of these or another extension of some sort. But hey, I'll have to live with it, or buy another one of these if you can. Now, it is quite a girthy sort of pipe compared to the old school type blowers that everyone's used to, the old workshop blowers that are quite small, you know, quite narrow, very small ends on them. And they work quite differently to this Milwaukee one. All these old ones, this shape that we're all used to, they have an impeller in here that spins this way and fires the air out. Whereas this one, if we take a look in there, can we see it? Yep, that, hold it in the right place, tools. It's got a blade that spins that way and fires all the air out more like a traditional fan that you might have in your house to keep you cool. So it's that sort of direction as opposed to that spinning that way. And these sort of blowers nowadays seem to put out a lot more blow than those old school ones. But of course, take heed of the safety warnings. People have to be at least 15 meters away from this. Your hair could get sucked in it. It will cut your fingers clean off. Your shirt might get sucked into it. You can't use it when it's raining. This is something to do with ninja powers, I'm guessing. Reflecting, chopping things away. Yeah. Why that needs to be on there, I'm unsure. It has TPE overmolding almost all the way around it. Look, this is all rubbery, which seems a bit sort of excessive. Why do you need rubbery stuff all the way around it? I mean, it's nice, I suppose, if you bang it against something, but even the feet are all rubbery there. It does, of course, unfortunately have a Milwaukee M12 handle, which means it's an horrible shape to hold. Ergonomics are, as with all Milwaukee M12 tools, terrible. Feature wise, what has she got? Well, it's got a trigger, it's got 2 speeds, 1, 2, high, low, and it also has a lock on button here, so if you pull the trigger, push that in, she will stay on, which is nice. And the trigger is also variable. And you've got the usual M12 gauge at the front here for how good your batteries are, which is basically just a little sticker stuck on there, and it's stuck on crooked and probably won't last very long. Now, usually when I pick up a Milwaukee tool, it says it's made professionally in China or made in PRC, but this one, made in Thailand. Right, let's slap a battery on this thing and I'll find some more blowers to compare to it and we'll see if it's any good, eh? So I'm going to compare the Milwaukee to this Tool Pro. This is the one that lives on my deck. It's got a 4 amp hour battery on it. That is unfortunately the largest one that they make. We will then also test it against the Makita here with a 5 amp hour battery, the DeWalt with a 5 amp hour battery, all the batteries of course freshly charged, and we will be using this length of nozzle. And we'll put the 3 of those up against the Milwaukee with a 6 amp hour battery also fully charged. So, it's not great weather-wise out there to do this test right now because it is blowing a bloody gale, but I'll see what I can come up with.
let's take the nozzles off. Makita too powerful. Where's the DeWalt? Okay, so the DeWalt is out of the running, but now I'm going to put the remaining three up against each other, blowing this block of wood down here. I'm going to put the nozzle hard up against a bit of wood, pull the trigger, and see how far it can blow them along this timber floor. To make it fair, I'll do each one 3 times.
Milwaukee.
This rather peculiar looking line of sawdust is 1200 millimeters or 1.2 meters away from the edge of this piece of floor. I'm going to stand on this step with my toes touching this board, and we're going to aim the blowers at that sawdust, starting with the tool group. I'm now going to stand in the same place and blow using the Makita. See if we can get that sawdust to go any further. Much more significant. Can the Milwaukee get rid of that last remaining bit? So even though the Milwaukee sounds like it's the least powerful, it can actually blow from the furthest distance. I'm not a big fan of the noise the Makita makes. It's very loud and quite sort of ear-piercing almost, and if I'm using this for more than just a few seconds, I put earmuffs on. Whereas the Milwaukee is much louder. I definitely wouldn't be bothering to put on earmuffs for that.
You can of course also use it as a lemon levitation device. Enough silly buggers, let's wrap this thing up.
Now after all those tests, both the Makita and the Milwaukee still showing full battery life, So let's drain this down. I'll chuck a 2 amp hour on it and we'll see how long it lasts on full power. Minutes 40. That's not bad. That means we're looking at, if we double that for a 4 amp hour battery, you're looking at about 15 minutes, and you're looking at somewhere around 22 minutes for a 6 amp hour battery. That's a pretty respectable runtime compared to a lot of blowers. So even though the Makita has the greatest velocity of air, the air coming out the end of the nozzle or straight out of the tool is by far the fastest of these ones we've just tested. The Milwaukee moves more air and it can push that air further. So even though it's not coming out as fast, doesn't sound as grunty, not as loud, it's pushing more air around and therefore moving your leaves or whatever faster and from a further distance. In other words, making your job quicker and easier. And the Tool Pro one is of course a piece of shit. Now some of you have saying, why didn't you use the new one, the DUB186? That's the old DUB183. Yeah, that is true. But I used the 186 when I first tested this in the car park at Handy Hardware blowing leaves around, and that's why I bought this, because it beat that one as well. And something in my head just told me to check if there was a 12 volt Makita blower, and there is. Didn't even realize there was a CXT one. But clearly, if this is beating the 18 volt, presumably it'll beat the 12 volt one, because it's basically this style of blower with the 12 volt battery. I find it a little bit odd that the main Milwaukee sign isn't on this side of the tool. That's how every other brand does it. For some reason they've put it on that side. Doesn't really matter, I suppose, but maybe that's so when you're using it, if you're right-handed, which most people are, the Milwaukee sign is more visible to outsiders. Whereas this style one, it's up against your leg potentially, and people are looking at this. So that might be something that is actually really quite clever. Anyway, what do I think of it? Yeah, it's a good tool. I like it for its price and its size and everything. It's fine. One thing I don't like about it, as I mentioned earlier, the ergonomics of the handle, like all M12 tools, is not great. And it means when you're using it, your wrist is sort of on a tilted angle. It's bending down. It's not very comfortable, and over a long period of time, not good for carpal tunnel or not great ergonomically. As opposed to these ones, which are in line with your arm. You can point that straight at the ground, and you don't have the weird bending of your wrist that you have to do with this tool. But that said, I bought it for the wife, so it's not going to bother me. If this is your first time watching one of my videos, thank you very much for making it to the end. Please consider subscribing by hitting the little thing below. Remember to hit the bell so you get the notifications, and the like button and all that stuff. And I will see you guys on another one soon. Cheers. I need a lot of lemon.